Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to Builds with Anna. Today we are in the world of Newcrest and we are building a large family home. I believe this home is for 7 Sims and a pet, but it could easily be made for 8 Sims. And as you can imagine, it is a large home in more of a colonial style. Now, this is the type of home that I really love to build because I do like to build symmetrical builds. I feel that they look more visually appealing from the exterior of the house. However, they're actually quite a challenge in terms of floor plans because, as I mentioned in my floor plans tips and tricks video, bump outs help you. Bump outs are your friend. Bump outs give shape and dimension, and they also allow you to kind of determine naturally where you can place rooms. So to not have many bump outs can be a challenge. So in that respect, it's a bit of a challenge. This build is not a pack restriction build. It's not a surely is not a budget restricted build. It was just a build that I really wanted to make. I really wanted to make a colonial style build. I hadn't done one in a very long time. And I definitely feel that a theme for this week is definitely builds that I really like to enjoy. This week, I really decided to kind of showcase the things that I would be building if I didn't have a YouTube channel. This is stuff that I would be building. And these larger builds, it's quite interesting because these builds I actually generally do over the series of, say, I don't know, 3 to 4 days. So to do this whole build in, say, one sitting and then edit it and what have you is definitely not how I normally build. So I definitely feel that YouTube has had that kind of impact on my building style, and I'm still trying to determine whether it's good or bad. There are definitely some builds on my gallery that I think are absolutely beautiful, and I think it is purely because I took my time and I had days and days and days where I could do a few hours each day and just chip away at it. Whilst this is very much, what can I build in a couple of hours? All right, so talking about the build, let's get back to it, shall we? So this build, so this is basically the shell. We've done the main part of the house. We are now moving into a bit of the landscaping. I am now deleting the inside walls. And you can see it is very much that open space, and doing a floor plan for a build like this, it can be a little bit daunting. And this is where that tip of start with your stairs is so important, because as you can see where I've placed these stairs, I automatically can section off that right side of the build. And that right side then becomes what almost like a right wing. When I do houses like this, I almost say the right side, the left side, front or back, and I use a lot of that terminology. So if you hear me say that a lot today, that's what I mean by that. So on that right side, we have a master bedroom and the main living room, and then on the left side, we have your very spacious kitchen, a formal dining, and a second living space. And then there is some hallways in the center of the build. And then upstairs, we have a child's twin girl room. We have a teen girls room, a male Sims teen room. I believe we do. Believe that's what I have. And then a toddler's room, which I believe is for a male Sim. But it's kind of a little bit more gender neutral, I feel. So it could go either way with that. And I believe that the pet is a cat for this household. I believe that that's what I have accounted for. Yes. All right. And then, so we are now working on the floor plan. Floor plan is pretty much done. I've just placed this beautiful dark wood and white paneling wallpaper. That is the wallpaper for the whole house. And I definitely feel that that is a more traditional style wallpaper that very much uh, matches the windows, the exterior, that those tall ceilings and the archways. And I've tried to use a lot of shapes, a lot of squares, a lot of circles in this build. And as you can see, I've got balconies. So these balconies are connected to, I believe there's a balcony to the two teen rooms, the girls' room, which are the twin girls, and the back. So on the second floor, there is a landing, and that also has a balcony that faces the back of the build. And on those balconies, I really wanted to create spaces that either potentially had a little bit of that particular Sim's personality, or just some areas for skill building or for sitting. They weren't very wide. They're actually very narrow balconies. They're not very big. They were more there initially just for decoration, but then I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to, to place something there. So, yeah, that's what those balconies are really there for, and that's how I've utilized them in this build. Okay, so we are very much into the landscaping. Now, the landscaping of this build is very minimal, and you would have seen that around the back when we did the back. I wanted to keep the colors very, I guess consistent is the word, like I use a lot of white, and I do that because I've got dark shutters and a dark roof. So having white landscaping and white wallpaper and white columns, it brings in those darker colors that are in those windows and roof and what have you. It brings all of that out, and it really makes it stand out. So visually, it's more appealing to the eye. Now, this would kind of give you the tone that the house is probably going to be more on a neutral side of color or in design, but it does have its pops of color. I would say the landscaping is probably the one part of the build that is very, very much neat, symmetrical, very, very kind of consistent in color, like a minimal color palette. But there are definitely areas of this home where it's just very vibrant, like this back entertainment space, that table with the shade awning umbrella thing. It's just a pop of color, and it really works out well in contrasting with the neutral colors. Alrighty, so where are we up to? I believe we are just working on the back, and when I do large homes like this, I really pretty much find every child's or teen's activity and skill building objects and just put them in the home. There's no reason to not include absolutely everything unless you know that the sim you're building for potentially wouldn't use that item. But if you have a range of different sims in your home, like it's a good idea that in these larger builds that you just include like a variety of things. So I have everything from a piano to a basketball hoop to a bar to chess tables, music things. What else have I got? I'm sure there's knitting somewhere. There's all sorts of things in this home. And that's because there's so many sims and you just really want to give those opportunities to for them to build skills. Now, please ignore those little round wooden details under the roof. I thought I would try something. It didn't really work out. In the end, I just decided to put some spandrels and some extra columns on those balconies. I felt that they were a little more fitting. Potentially those wooden cylinder beams would have worked had I not used as many. So maybe that was the problem, or maybe it was the height of the roof. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really used them a lot. I've seen a lot of like builds on YouTube that the simmer does use them and they use them so well and it works. And I thought, I'll give it a try, but unfortunately not today. All right, so we are in the kitchen. Now, this is a huge kitchen. This is a beautiful kitchen, lots of cabinetry. It's got island seating. It's got a breakfast table. It's got a coffee station. It's just very much a communal space. It's very large. Um, yeah, I really loved how this kitchen turned out, and it really set the vibe for the whole house. So this kitchen is very much what I would say is very much on trend for a colonial house. It's very traditional, um, and it does look like this house potentially would have a family that may be a little bit well off. Maybe they are far along in their careers. Uh, maybe the parents had gone to university and were able to get really good jobs. It just really looks like they have money. And I feel like to have a home like this and to have, the amount of kids that they would have, I think they have six, you would need to have simoleons to be able to. I should note down the price of this build. I might actually put it in the description box down below if you are interested. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's at least 120K. I would say that it's around that mark. I don't overly spend, like nothing is overly expensive. It's just the sheer size, and I really don't like to have overly empty builds. So when I do a big home like this, it automatically creates that challenge because, well, you have to fill it. So each room, you want to look well furnished and well decorated. And I do remember this one time where I built a home. It's actually the Bishop's family home. It's on the gallery, and my gallery ID is in the description box if you're interested. That was a beautiful house. That too was a very large house as well. And I remember I moved the Bishop's family, into that home. And there was like three of the Sims had said, I got a moodlet and it was like poorly decorated. I have never felt rage like that because it was like this house was something that I spent days on, and it was probably one of my favorite houses I've ever built. And it was just ironic that that was the house that the Sims were like poorly decorated, and it was like, oh, just a stab in the heart. Alrighty, so that was the kitchen. Sorry, I rambled on a bit there on a tangent. But we are now moving into that dining room. Now, this dining room, again, it fits that kind of traditional home, colonial style decorating, I would say. We do kind of spice it up a bit with that plant. I believe that, having a plant with that pinkish leaf is going to be not as traditional as what it would be if it had a different type of plant. Maybe it'd be like a lily pot would have been more traditional. But I still like that space. Now, the one thing I have a grudge for, and if I was to redo this house, I would do differently, is the flow of the house. So to me, it does feel a bit weird that the Sims would have to naturally walk through this small sitting area through the dining to get into the kitchen. I feel like it really should flow the other way around. So, you start with the kitchen and then it goes outwards. But it's not too bad. In the end, I think it works. And this little seating area was a space that I had it was big enough that it needed something, but it was not big enough to be a proper formal living room. But I do end up putting a TV and chairs and some pet items there. And I think it's a nice little space. I think it really is. Like, I really love the ottoman that I used. I added to a little bit more of that class, maybe opulence, kind of giving off that vibe that maybe potentially they have some money and what have you. All right, so now we are in the downstairs bathroom. I believe that this might be the only bathroom I actually show you guys. So this is a large build. In my large builds, I try to, keep the length of the video down as much as I can. So I don't, bathrooms are things that I don't really spend a lot of time in. Maybe one day I will build a house and the bathroom will be like my favorite room in the house and I will show it off. But for me, these bathrooms in this house in particular are pretty much identical. So I don't really feel the need to show you, or I think I think there's three. Yeah, I believe there's like three bathrooms. So it just, makes it faster. We are into the master bedroom. So this is probably one of the most, I don't know, it's a very plain room. Again, master bedrooms always get neglected in my Sims builds. I feel sorry for the parents. But we went with that red base game bed, and that really much set the tone for the rest of the Uh, build, room. Just putting some shelving. They're not immaculate shelves, but they're still shelving. So we've gone with that today, and this is actually the little ensuite. So there you go, and a second bathroom there. And again, I went with that gorgeous red rug to try to pull that red into that bathroom. It's very simply decorated. I thought these, are they Oriental themed wall hanging paintings? Were quite nice. So I put those in there, obviously just a computer and what have you. This is a very basic laundry. I also cut most of this out as well, but there is laundry in this house. As I said, I like to have rooms that allow me to use up the space. I don't want to have massive hallways with nothing in them. Yeah, all right, so we are into the main living area. So this is the main lounge room of the home. Massive TV, a huge sectional, a fish tank. Why not? Again, I like to have larger rooms to be sectioned. So this has like a little kids reading area and an activity section. It has the main TV. It has, there's some pets stuff. There's a gaming console. There's plants, obviously. So there's lots of areas where you could say, okay, you might have some pets here. You might have some children doing some things here. You have a kids corner. You have, yes, it is a cat because there is a cat tree. There you go. So yeah, I like to section my rooms in that kind of way. We are now focusing on the entryway of the house. This is nothing too shabby, just some things that really like you would find in an entryway. I love doing these little kind of sitting areas near stairs. I think it looks so good. So I've done that here in this house with a couple of paintings and like a dining, a China dining hutch. I think that's what they're called. So yeah, that was the entryway, and the entryway towards the back is very similar too. It's just got that cat tree and a couple of other things. All right, so we are officially upstairs and we are in the twin girls' room. Now, every time I do like a twin room or anything like of this nature, I like to have my twins have very different personalities. I feel that it makes for more, exciting decorating. So in this space, you have one teen who is very girly, and then the other the other child sim, is into space and is into a little bit maybe potentially astrology. I really liked the kind of purplish blue kind of tie-dye items from high school years. It kind of reminded me of a bit like the galaxy and like the cosmos and I don't know. That was the vibe. It was that purple space galaxy type thing. And then the other side is your pretty pink girly, there's a little craft section on the floor with like the pillows. It's just so cute. There's fairy lights. This is probably my favorite room in the house. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I really changed it up with the curtains, so that kind of helped section that room. Now they do have a ensuite bathroom, the girls. You can see it there through the toddler's room that we're currently decorating, but I didn't include it, again, very similar to the rest of them. Now this toddler's room, to me it's gender neutral, but I could understand if you would think that it's potentially a little bit more masculine because of the color scheme. I really liked the kind of car bed. My nephew is obsessed with cars, and I definitely thought of him when I built this. So yeah, just a very basic toddler's room. A lot of the little campus kit stuff used in that room. Now we're into the teen girls' room. Now this room was very nature, very much. I wanted to use some neutrals, but with that green. That green was very much a focal color. The green with the yellow, and the high school years pack is definitely through and throughout this bedroom. And, I've got the wicker items, the Art Deco beds, there's some yoga stuff in there, there's wellness, there's some music. She has this really nice, as you can see here, it'll be like a little sitting area with the bench, with the kind of the foliage that's over the window. I just think it's such a beautiful space. I think she has a really nice room. And just some posters with that kind of muted yellow wallpaper, some knitting objects, lots of skill building. So that's her room. And again, each child and toddler and teen, they're all different, and they all have areas of the house which I could potentially see them in. So just outside of the toddler's room, I thought having like a little play area would be really cute. So I love that tent kind of fort object from Dream Home Decorator. It makes having toddlers so much easier. Highly recommend that if you have that pack. Yeah, so we are just doing a desk area. Back over to the other side, you did see a piano. I love to use pianos in areas where I'm trying to fill space. I just think that they're so great to have like more skill building and like a little entertainment area. Outside of the girls' room, we do actually do like a reading sitting area, and I make it so girly and so cutesy. Use some ottomans, some cushions from the toddlers stuff pack, that cute little rug, that mint and pink rug from high school years. And it's just such a cozy little space. And I really thought that was great how near each room there was actually like a space for that sim. Okay, we are now into the male teens room. I'm glad I remembered I had this room. I totally forgot. But yes, so many rooms, huge house. Anyway, this is a basic boys' room. I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything about this room that is overly special. We've got some sports objects. We've got some very neutral colours. We've got a gaming computer. He does have a telescope outside of his room, so maybe potentially he's interested in that. Alrighty, we are now into the tour of the build. I am very much into it. I'm sorry, I ramble. We are in the downstairs. I am going through making sure I have laundry baskets in every room. As you can see, that's the upstairs bathroom, the girls' room again, their bathroom, the teens' room. I've got that closet in there from Get Together. I love that bit of gameplay. The outside area, that entertainment spot. What else have we got here? And that is the build. And that is it today. So this is my large family colonial style home. And if you have made it to this far in the video, I really hope you would comment down below and let me know what your favorite room is. Maybe potentially, do you like this build? Do you think that the color scheme worked? What would you have done differently had you had a copy of the build? And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.